equation. So first of all, it's a radical equation. So the first rule when solving a radical equation is isolate the radical completely. So we have to get it all by itself. So we're going to add 3 to both sides. 2 times the cube root of x minus 4 is equal to 4. Then, to isolate the cube root, we have to first, what? Divide by 2. Good, divide by 2. Have I come and pick up those well quizzes? Okay, I'll come grab them. So we have the cube root of x minus 4 is equal to 2. Okay. So then from there, how do you undo the cube root? Cube each side. So then we know our root cancels out with our power, leaving us with x minus 4 is equal to 2 cubed. So 2 cubed is 8. Then I add x, get x alone. So add 4 to both sides. X is equal to 12. How many got 100% correct? Okay, good. Questions on that? Yesterday we learned how to solve systems of equations when dealing with 3 variables. So today we're doing 5-8. We're going to be solving systems of equations of many or different types of variables. So we might have 2 variables, we might have 3, and we're going to do it using matrices. So, recall yesterday we learned how to solve the systems of equations with 3 variables. So we saw something like this, and we were solving this using elimination and substitution, right? It was quite a lengthy process, pretty hard stuff. Now, understand something. Your calculator can do this for you. So that's what we're going to learn today. Now, why did we learn to do it the long way then? Because that's how math works. You need to be able to do it by hand. And then, yeah, if there's an easier way, I'll teach you. I mean, if you can get the right answer, that's what I care about. But we need to see how to do it both ways. Now, if you guys were in honors class, I would require every one of you to do it by hand. That's it. I show you the calculator way so you could check your answers. But in regular, if you can get the right answer, I don't care the method you use. So most of you are going to use your calculator. That's fine. You're still getting the right answers, right? So it doesn't matter how you get it. In the real world, are you going to be able to use a calculator at your job? Yes. So why not use it, right? All right. So first of all, we have to know what a matrix is. So a matrix is a rectangular array of numbers. So look right here. We have this rectangle type thing, a rectangular array of numbers. So we have these numbers set up looking kind of like a rectangle. And you usually display the array with brackets. So notice I have some brackets. That is how you usually can say I have a matrix. The dimensions of a matrix are the number of rows and the number of columns in the array. So we have to know, that's one thing we do have to be able to determine, is the number of rows and the number of columns. So understand, this way is rows, this way is columns. So this matrix right here is a 2, that has 2 rows, it's a 2 by 3. So that has 2 rows. Does everybody see how we have 2 rows? And then we have 3 columns. 2 by 3. It always is row by columns. Is everybody okay with that? If you can do that, then you're pretty much set. Your calculator will do it for you. Now, a matrix element is just a certain spot sitting in the matrix, and you're going to see it written like this. So, RC. So this A means in matrix A, the element in matrix A with row and column. So it's going to specify it, but row comes first, column comes second. So this is saying what's the element 2, 3. So in row 2, column 3. So what's the element, which number is in row 2, column 3? So look, row 2, wouldn't that be this row? Everybody good so far? And then column 3, so that would be 1. You always work from left to right, so 1, 2, 3. Where is it in row 2 and column 3? 3. So our element in row 2, column 3 is simply 3. Does everybody see how to do that? So we just have to get comfortable with matrices. All right. Let's go through one more, then I'll just let you work. Given this matrix A, we want to know element 2, 3. That's not element 23. Remember, this means row 2, column 3. So rows are like this. So row 2, I'm going to point. This is row 2. Row 2, and at the same time, column 3. This is 1, 2, and 3. So in row 2, column 3, is 8, right? So our element is 8. Is everybody comfortable with that? Not hard by any means. All right, awesome. Do 1 through 8, go. Be comfortable with matrices. All right, so now understand something really cool about this. So now that we know what a matrix is, you can represent a system of equations as a matrix. So in this system of equations here, we have 1x plus 3y is equal to 7, and then we have 3x plus 1y is equal to negative 8. Now we could go through, we could solve this by hand, right? By substitution or elimination. Or we could simply write it as a matrix and then type it into our calculator, and I'm going to teach you how to do that in just a second. And I'll teach you what it means to simplify it, and your calculator is going to get you the answers. So now notice something, if you're going to write this system of equations as a matrix, what we're doing is we're actually only writing the coefficients in front of the variables. So once again, in equation 1, I have 1x, so I put a 1, 3y, so I put a 3, and then this line, by definition, is an equal sign, but it's still just 2 rows, 3 columns. It's just its own column. That line just is an equal sign. So once again, 7's our constant coefficient, so do you see how it's working here? Do you see how this matches up to this with the coefficients? Yes.
First column.
Right. Yep. Yes. Yep, good point. So then once again, 3, 1, because y is 1, 1 in front of y, and then negative 8. Now, once again, Dylan just said, so this first column, yes, these are the x coefficients. This second column is our y coefficients. And then these are our constant coefficients. Do you see how this works here? Yes.
So if there's like 4 columns and the third one would be the z.
Right. And then there would be 3 rows as well. Yeah, good point. All right, so does everybody see how this works? Now, let's say we were missing a y. Don't put a 1 there. If we were missing y, you put a 0. You have to put a 0 in your matrix. Does that make sense? Because there's 0 y's if it was missing. Okay, awesome. So let's write, let's get to this first, and then let's just get going with this. So when a matrix is in reduced row echelon form, then you have your answers. So this is called reduced row echelon form. So a couple of things to notice about reduced row echelon form. So once again, when a matrix in reduced row echelon form, you have your answers. So this is reduced row echelon forms. It's a series of 1s and 0s. Now your 1s will always go down the diagonal. So do you see how my 1s go down my diagonal? And then this one has just x and y. This is a 2 variable one because we know that in our first column is x and our second column is y. So right here, do you see how we would have x is equal to a? Does everybody see that? And in this one, we would have y is equal to b. So we literally will have the answers as long as our matrix is in reduced row echelon form. So once again, if we have 3 variables, we have something like this. It's a series of, if it's in reduced row echelon form, it's a series of 1s and 0s. Once again, the 1s will go along the diagonal. And then you'll have, so this first one is x. So x is equal to a. This second one is y. So y is equal to b. And this third row would be z. So we'd have z is equal to c. Do you see how this is working here? Now, if you were in secondary math 3 honors, I would make us go through and we would set up a matrix and we'd go through and get these in 1s and 0s by hand. But because we're in regular and really, if you can come up with the right answer, you get the right answer no matter what. Like, you have the right answer. That's all we need to really know. I'm just going to show you how to do it on your calculator. So it says, on number 9, it says write a matrix. So let's go ahead and write a matrix out of this real quick. Because you have to be able to write a matrix to type it into your calculator. So this is pretty straightforward. There's not any tricks here. Let's put it in. So if we're writing a matrix out of number 9, we're going to have on this top row 3, 1, and a line because of the equal sign and negative 4, right? And then we're going to have negative 2, 4, and 7. I've written a matrix. Is everybody comfortable with writing a matrix? Now let's say I said go backwards. What if I gave you the matrix and said write the system of equations? Wouldn't you be able to do it pretty easily? Okay, we won't go over that then. So now let's do problem number 20. So if you read the directions, it just says write a matrix. That's all we got to do. We haven't done anything with it, so it's just seeing if you're comfortable with writing a matrix. So now here's why. Here we go. Let's do number 20. It says solve the system of equations. So once again, if you saw this yesterday, you would have had to go through and do it by hand. Because of today, you're not going to have to. You're going to use your calculator. So we're going to set up our first most important thing, setting up a matrix. So I'm going to have 3, 5, negative 4. I'm going to have negative 2, 1, negative 3. Sorry, let me wind this up a little bit. Yep, good point. So I forgot a 0 there. So 3, 0 is y. Okay, so I'm going too fast. So x, 3, x, then our second column's y's, right? So we have to put in our 0 or we're going to get this wrong. 0, then 5, negative 4. Did I throw anyone off too bad by going too fast and messing up? Okay. So then we have negative 2, 1, and negative 3, and 9. We have negative 1, negative 2, 9, and 0. And now, if we can get this in reduced row echelon form, meaning one side down the diagonal, zeros everywhere else, then we will have solved for x, y, and z. So I'm going to show you now how to type it into your calculator. So you need that matrix, so keep it close. So here we go. So pull up your calculators and follow me through this. Because you're going to have to know how to use your calculator. So you hit, now notice if you read the little key on your calculator right here, it says matrix up here in the top. So to get there, you have to hit second matrix. So second x to the negative 1. Then it takes us to the matrix option. So we're going to go over and edit. So scroll over to edit. And I hit enter. So we first have to tell our calculator what by what kind of matrix is this. So how many rows versus how many columns? So how many rows? 1, 2, 3. How many columns? 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is a 3 by 4 matrix. So you're going to type in 3 by 4. And then it will put in my matrix for me here. So now we're going to put in those coefficients. Now notice our calculator doesn't have that line, but that's just for your own comfort to know that that's an equal sign. So it's still going to calculate the equals is going to be over here. So let's go ahead and put in our coefficients. So for number 20, we had 3, hit enter, 0, enter, 5, enter, negative 4, and so on. So we have negative 2, 1, negative 3. Make sure you don't type in minus 3. It'll say error if you do that. And 9. Our last one, we had negative 1, negative 2, 9, and 0. Okay, so I'm going to wait for everybody to get there. We're all there, not there. Another second. Are we all good? So now you'll hit you have to get out of here first. So we need to do quit. So we need to do second quit. Your matrix is saved. So I'm going to do second quit. I'm going to get out of the matrix option. And now I have to go back into the matrix option. So second matrix. And I'm going to go over to math. So notice the names just means we have a matrix A, which is a 3 by 4. It's inputted into our calculator. So I'm going to go over to math. And I'm going to scroll down to reduced row echelon form. So our calculator is going to put it in reduced row echelon form for us. Now make sure you go to REF, because this is just reduced echelon form, different. We need reduced row echelon form. So I click on that. REF. Now we have to tell it which matrix we want it to do for reduced row echelon form. So I have to go back into second matrix, and we're now in A. So in names, we're telling it we want to do reduced row echelon form to A. So I hit enter. So reduced row echelon form of matrix A that we put in. Did everybody see how I did that? Hit enter. So look, it puts it in reduced row echelon form. We have one sign in the diagonal. We know there's an equal sign right here. So we're going to get x is equal to -3, y is equal to 6, and z is equal to 1. How cool is that? So much easier than doing it by hand, right? So we get x is equal to -3, y is equal to 6, and z is equal to 1. Now I need you to write your answers like this, because this is an xy point of intersection. So we have -3, 6, 1. There's our points of intersection for the planes. You could even do this with so you can do this with all types of matrix. So you could never solve by substitution or elimination again. You could always use this. You can use a calculator, why not, right? All right. So these are the problems I need you to do. 9 through 20, 24, and I need you to read the instructions. Only do what the instructions tell you to do, so don't go extra. Just do what the instructions tell you. And then I want you to go back and on 5-7, the worksheet, check your answers. Or let's say you didn't get any answers yesterday for one of them, or you were struggling. Do it this way, and then hand it in. Does that make sense? On the test, if I say solve, you can solve using the calculator. It's all up to you. Or by hand, I don't care, however you want to do it. Okay, so as you go, after you've done a couple, check with me. Go, 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 go.